Every day in this country, on our watch, someone walks into a home or perhaps a hospital room where a First Nations or Inuit or Métis mother has given birth, and that baby, toddler, or child is taken away from their family. They are taken away, for the most part, on the basis of something that is euphemistically called neglect. But in truth, they are often taken for reasons of economic poverty, inadequate housing, unresolved health issues. This is our modern day variation on the legacy of residential schools. As a result of these practices that take place every day in this country, there are now tens of thousands of Indigenous children in the foster care system across the country. In provinces like Manitoba, where Dan Van Daal is from, there are more than 11,000 children in care. More than 10,000 of them are Indigenous. These are the most vulnerable children in our country. And we need to listen to them. But above the noisy din of our day-to-day lives, the cries of these children are barely audible. Yet they are on a dangerous path. Children entangled in foster care are at high risk of homelessness, becoming missing persons, becoming incarcerated, developing problematic substance use. They are more likely to become victims of human trafficking, suicide, or homicide. Il y a un an, j'ai décrit la situation comme une crise humanitaire. Et c'est la vérité. Janvier, cette année, on a eu une réunion nationale d'urgence avec mes collègues, nos partenaires. On s'est réunis ici à Ottawa et le gouvernement fédéral a dit qu'on va prendre 6 mesures. Et c'est une de ces 6 mesures qu'on discute aujourd'hui. Ça vient de la Commission de vérité et la réconciliation et les appels de l'action. Un appel de l'action numéro 4, demander au gouvernement fédéral de mettre en place des dispositions législatives en matière des enfants autochtones. À cause de cet appel, on a commencé un plan de mobilisation. Notre département a organisé plus de 65 réunions, les séances de mobilisation, avec plus de 2000 participants. Mes partenaires aussi ont eu leur même processus de discuter cette décision avec leur peuple. Ce qu'on a entendu, c'était un consensus fort pour aller de l'avant avec un projet de loi fédéral élaboré conjointement sur les services à l'enfance et à la famille pour les enfants autochtones. Et on va mettre ce projet de loi ici dans la Chambre des communes au début de l'année 2019. The legislation that we are co-developing is going to do 2 things on the basis of what we heard over and over again all across this country. People asked for 2 things. They asked that it would lay down a set of principles. Principles based on the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Principles based on the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. The decisions about the future of children and the well-being of children should be based on the best interests of those children, should be based on the rights of those children and their families. Rights like due process, recognizing that no one should walk into a hospital room and take a baby away without looking at every other possible way that that child can be kept safe. That there should be principles of non-discrimination, that children should not be apprehended from their family on the basis of economic poverty, on the basis of health issues that are untreated. But the second thing that people asked for loudly and clearly was that this legislation should affirm the right to self-determination on child and family services. Rights that are laid down in international law, in our Constitution, and in treaties. And that this affirmation of self-determination opens a space for First Nations, Inuit, and Métis to exercise the jurisdiction that they rightfully have. I say to Canadians today that they should not underestimate the importance of this legislation. It marks a turning point. For a century now, based on discriminatory policies of government, we have been taking children away from their families. It started with residential schools, it continued in the 60s scoop, and still today, children are being taken from their families. And this legislation marks a turning point to say no more. No more scooping children. No more ripping apart families. No more lost children who don't know their language, their culture, their lineage. We are on a journey of reconciliation that requires the rebuilding of strong nations, that requires the building of self-reliant First Nations, Inuit, and Métis governments. But we will not be successful in that goal without rebuilding the strong bonds of family. That is why we are here today, for the families, for the children. Together, we can help these children find their way home. Merci beaucoup. Chimigwech, Nakurmik, merci.